Paparuski asks, I have watched a lot of your videos. Do you find that the black community is having a political and economic awakening? Yes, I do. I do. And I do because at first, this would be a lie too, because black people have been in the black community, people in the black community have been connected to politics for a long time. So I'm not going to say that they don't pay attention to politics at all. I'm not going to say that. What I will say though is by me paying attention to social media, it seemed like a lot more people, especially young people, are way more vocal about politics than I've ever noticed. But that will be, I really can't depend on that view because I never really paid attention to political talk, to politics and all those things. So sometimes when you're not looking for something, you're not going to see it. It never was in my algorithm. And now I notice things that I never noticed before. Something like when you become a parent. When you become a parent, you start paying attention to little things about what's safe and what's not safe for your children. You know what I mean? What you can feed them, what you can't. What you can put on them, what you can't. Those type of things. So when it comes to politics now in the black community, I'm starting to notice a lot more discussions about money, about business. I mean, because talking about business has been something that I do know that the black community really didn't like to talk about. Like we usually only talk about business that we'll do is our own business. We talk about what we do. We try to stunt on somebody else to let them know we're doing better than them, but we don't talk about how to build a business, the importance of paying taxes, the importance of having certain setups and investments and those type of things. Those conversations very rarely happen in public. They happen in private. But you got to be a part of certain groups. You got to qualify to be in those groups in order to be in those conversations. But I'm starting to notice also too, and that right there is also a biased view because I'm also in business now. So since now that I have my own business, I pay attention to business talk. Again, it goes back to being that I watch for these things now, or I'm really hyper focused on succeeding and doing certain things in business, that when people have these conversations, I notice it and I pay attention and I check out other channels because those things are sent to me through my algorithm, because now I told Google that I'm interested in this thing and they're like, oh, and I probably had a conversation around my damn phone, because that's happened too. I will have a conversation with my wife around, it'll be in private. I won't Google it or nothing. And then I'll go look on IG or something and it'll be an ad for the exact same thing I was just now talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I feel uncomfortable asking about individual communities because in the end, we are all Americans. In the end, it would be beautiful if we looked at ourselves that way, but people don't consider themselves American. In the black community, unfortunately, a great deal of people don't consider themselves American. They don't. They consider themselves Americans who are from Africa. And they're always longing, we are always longing to feel like we are a part of something that's ours, that wasn't forced on us. And it's only because of what's constantly fed into us by the educational system. Now, some of us know who we are. Some of us are happy with who we are. But before I started doing these reactions, I've never, ever heard a black person just in regular conversation say that they love the United States. Never heard a black person say that they love the country. Never seen a black person carrying around a flag or put a flag on their door unless they were old military vet, old army vet or something like that. But these are all things I'm learning. Someone called me a true patriot in one of my videos. Do you know I received messages from a couple people who know me personally who saw that as disrespect? That someone called me a true patriot. Someone called me a true patriot, bro. And 2 people reached out to me feeling like that was disrespectful of them to call me a true patriot. And for me to even present myself in a way that people would think is cool to call me a true patriot. Like, that's a bad thing. But it's rough, man. It's rough. It's rough. That's why King Bliss and I was having a conversation about the MAGA hat thing. It's a real thing. Back to what Rush said. Rush fan said that I flipped my algorithm. And yes, I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. I flipped my algorithm by doing reactions, period. What happened was I flipped my own algorithm on purpose. And I did it because I started doing reactions. Because there's never been a time where I ever Googled Metallica anything. I'd never Googled or searched YouTube for Linkin Park anything, Guns N' Roses anything, Megadeth anything, Godsmack anything. So when I'm searching Tool and all these other bands that I'm looking for, my algorithm is switching. Then I started checking out country, and I'm checking out white comedians. So I'm checking out a whole bunch of stuff within the span of 2.5 years that I've never in my life checked out. So of course, I'm going out of my way to change my own algorithm. But I started learning more and more and more about people's cultures, about these different cultures I didn't know before. I started doing reactions. And that right there will change you. That will change you, because then when you start to understand people, you start to empathize. When you understand, you empathize. Sometimes you try not to. You try to be tougher than nails and try not to even pay attention to their issues because you got your own. But I couldn't do that. So I wanted to look more and more and more and more to it. And I started learning more and more. That's why people go out of their way to separate themselves from other races if they don't want to be infiltrated. You know what I mean? So sometimes that's how I go. Serious question. What is your favorite food? I'm a cook. I'm curious. My favorite food has changed a lot lately. I haven't been able to find any good gumbo, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm shifting more to fruits and vegetables because I want to be more healthy, but spicy foods. So right now, I like spicy foods, a gumbo or some type of noodles with chicken and peppers and andouille sausages. I don't know, like a mix. Like that's why I like gumbo, man. Like it'll have like a soup and different meats in it, and it's spicy and it's seasoned properly. Like, you know what I mean? Have you taken a look deeper into the red pill community and the messed up dating market due to the politics and social standards? That's a good question. Yes, I have started to look into the red pill community, and I don't understand it. I'm be honest with you. I don't understand the red pill community. I see a bunch of young people giving other people advice, a whole lot of advice on how to date and what should be expected and how to move. And I think that's pretty dope that they're giving young people this type of guidance so that they can be successful, so that they can know how to move and shake when they're out there in the world. But one thing I don't like about the red pill community is that they don't see the true value behind marriage, and that I don't subscribe to. They don't see the point behind marriage. They look at marriage as just as a bad business deal. I don't like that. And I'm talking about for the most part, because there are some people in that space who are married, but then the people who are at the top of the top in the red pill space, they're single. They're dating. They're showing people how to get a whole lot of money, or they're showing young ladies how to date people with a whole lot of money. And what qualifies them to give that type of advice is because they themselves are people with a lot of money and their friends got money and they so-called understand these men. And I think it's a couple of clown shows out there, but I'm not going to point those shows out that I think are clown shows. Abbott and Preach, I really respect those two guys. They are phenomenal. As a matter of fact, they don't come off as red pill to me. Not red pill nor blue pill. They just seem like some real dudes. And I respect that. I love that.